The A Show.
Where smart is the new sexy.
And now, April Hunter.
Evening legends. I'm happy to have you guys with me. I also have with me tonight Wade Hunt Williams. He's an actor, a singer, and he is purple pill to the eyeballs. Welcome, Wade Hunt Williams. Thank you for being here.
Hi, April. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So
good to see you.
You may
Thanks
have
for having me on today.
I'm happy that you're here. Now, we're all live here. Do we have everything going? Because I'm new at this.
I don't know. Let's explain to the audience what has happened. Ray, your longtime, amazing, wonderful producer,
yes,
got called away to Washington, D.C. today to testify about some things having to do with the subway system in New York, and which is completely untrue, by the way. But he's not here today. So you are producing the show, and I'm here backing you up. So we are doing the best job we can to find out what to do. So we are, like you said, the blind leading the blind. But a great, I'm sorry. Someone says good evening, April. So at least we are live. We know that people are watching.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that we're live. So thank you. Welcome everybody. Please be patient with me tonight because this is my very first time trying to do this. I've always had Ray handling all the technicalities and all this stuff. So if I screw it up, which there's a very likely possibility, please be patient. So anyway, thank you. I see Notary. I see Eva, Chuck, Winona, Marvelous Wolf. What's up? Alex. Hi. I'm happy that you guys have joined me. Thank you. So I got to see Alex this weekend. I worked at the Clearwater Library Comic-Con, and Alex came in to say hi, and we did pictures, and we had a great time. So thank you for showing up. Appreciate it. We had some fun. We played with apps, and I got to meet his dad. I think that was your dad or your brother. So I had a good time. It's always cool to see people who I get to talk with during the week to actually get to hang out with them on the weekend. So thank you for that. Canada Spaceman, hi. So is it live or is it Memorex? We're showing our age there with that one, right? Maurizio, hello. So I'm glad you guys have joined me. I'm glad you guys have joined us. So we have lots to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the science of fear. We're going to have a discussion about socialism versus capitalism, because a lot of people aren't really sure what, I think we've been painted a portrayal that capitalism is bad, socialism's good, socialism's bad, capitalism's good. So, I mean, it's like, what is it exactly? And where are we in America? Now, I know a lot of people tuning in are from all over, and some people have socialist democracies. And here in America, we are technically a republic, a democratic republic. Which is where you retain your sovereign independence and you're more of a me than a we, whereas when you're a socialized democracy, you're a we. So there's a reason a lot of people do tend to come to America, try and make it in the avenues that they can't in other countries. And we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about some other tidbits here and there that have been happening. So those are our two main things. We're going to cover a very late birthday thing that I got actually this weekend. I got some really cool tips on little things you can do to be a little bit more environmental that some of you are probably doing, but some of them actually aren't so common sense. So I'll share them with you. And I picked up a really cool book called Christmas Addict. And I might read you the first couple pages because I think you might love it too, especially if you love having that Christmas joy and feeling. So I love this book. It's by a local independent author, and I think you might be into it too. So Flash, what's up? Allie, what's up? Cool, awesome dude. I'm happy to see all of you here. Thank you. So where do we start?
Well, it's a good question. Number one, this is kind of freaky. I'm very impressed. I'm impressed at at how you're doing so far. So good job with that. Very, very well. So I think we should start. Well, I mean, we're live. We're making it happen. So what about the fear? I mean, just talk about fear, because right now, if you think about it, Big Wig said I had Christmas joy when my wife left. That's very sweet. That's sweet.
Christmas joy all year round, baby.
All year around. She's gone. Yay!
Yep.
So let's just talk about fear. Let's talk about the different kinds of fear. Let's talk about how fear is a horrible thing, but it can also be a good thing. You know, it's like we were talking earlier before we went to air, like about the different types of fear. So maybe you want to dive into that and see if the audience relates to any of that.
Well, yeah. Okay. So where was I going to start on this? There was something that I saw that kind of hit me with it. That brought it up. It's okay. So it seems like we are inundated now with basically, you're going to die. You're going to die. This could kill you. You're going to die. Watch out for this. You're going to die. So we come from, and I think there's so many of us that we're all kind of from an era where at one point we knew our neighbors and we played outside and we lived in a little bit of a different situation. And obviously that has changed. Maybe for some of us, it's still kind of the same, but things are coming at us full bore all around us, like don't eat this, watch out for that, don't breathe this, don't talk to anybody. If this person comes to your door, they might kill you. It's this virus, that virus, take this, take that, this pit bull is going to eat your baby. So we're having all this stuff thrown at us.
Maybe a dingo ate your baby.
Right,
that's
exactly.
What happened. A dingo ate your baby. Yeah.
So it's Big Wig says irrational. So right. And that is true. Now, don't get me wrong. Fear is super important. It alerts you. It keeps you safe. There is a very biological, very good reason to have fear. And that's what's kept all of us. That's why we're all here. So in a Darwinism situation, we are all here because somebody, somewhere, our ancestors, somewhere along the line, somewhere along the line, they have made sure to survive and pay attention and last long enough to get us to where we're here today to have this discussion and have this conversation. But there is a real penalty to pay for living in fear all the time, because we are not created in fear all the time. It's very, very unhealthy because of all the chemicals that are released. So Billy Ray Valentine, what's up? I appreciate the offer. Billy said he would step in and help me if I need to be rescued, which I appreciate, and don't go too far away.
don't go anywhere, Billy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm reading some of your comments, and again, this is where it's going to be difficult for me because I want to read your comments and I want to talk at the same time. And Marvelous Wolf, I did not see your tweet earlier today yet. I appreciate it. I don't know how to use Discord. I want you to teach me. How about that? I want somebody to help me out with that. And Red Sunny, hi, Sunny. He says nothing to fear but fear itself. And that's kind of the point of this show. Yes, sometimes there's something to fear, but for the most part, there's a lot that's perpetuated. So there are two types of fear, actually. There's the fear that we get when we go on a roller coaster or watch a scary movie or go to a scary, like a fun house or whatever. And these types of fear they're fear that's you're fully aware that they're not real, and they actually create a dopamine. So we're scared, but we're thrilled and we like it. So this is not the kind of fear that is a problem. It's actually kind of addicting. And for those of you who are into horror movies, you know what I'm talking about. You're into it. And then there is the second type of fear, which is the fight or flight fear. So this particular fear creates, it's a lot more damaging. It's a problem. It creates cortisol. And this is a primary stress hormone. And we're not supposed to be stressed all the time. And we are definitely not supposed to release a primary stress hormone nonstop. And years ago, when we used to have the news on at like 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock, and we didn't have social media, we didn't have access to nonstop fear, 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 fear coming at us from all angles and being regurgitated again on social media. And as Daryl says, sometimes fear keeps us sharp. Correct. Sometimes guilt motivates us to go to the gym. Sometimes anger motivates us to write blogs. But so any emotion that's considered a negative emotion can actually be used in a positive way. Nothing is ever black and white, straight positive, negative. There's always a gray area. So you're not wrong. However,
so let me ask you this. So if you don't mind me interjecting real quick. So the first kind of fear, the roller coaster, this isn't real, the I'm watching a horror movie, this is exciting kind of fear. By the way, someone in the chat, is April frozen to you guys or just me? April's frozen to me.
Am I frozen?
Just let me in the chat know if you guys can see. April is froze. Yeah, Eva says
I'm
April
frozen.
Is froze. So yeah.
Okay.
So, but we can hear you. We just can't see you.
Okay. Do I back? Is this the part where I back out and try again? Okay. I'm gonna back out and try again.
Okay. Well, go. There you go. Okay, hey, how are you? It's just me. Hey, everybody. How are you? Oh yeah, she keeps freezing when Nona says. So we're talking about the fear. So the fear that of the roller coaster kind of thing. So that's fun fear, right? Well, you're kind of shaky there. Just yeah, but we can hear you. That's the main thing. We can definitely hear you. Just can't see you. For some reason your camera is a little weird, but we can totally hear you.
Is it really?
So but then the other fear, the cortisol fear that impending doom, we're all gonna die, the next virus, the next thing around the corner, that seems to be something that for lack of a better term, that we've been inundated with for like the last 4 years. And it's always something new. And it's the bird flu, or it's this flu, or it's this virus, or this thing, or this poke, or this political thing, or this political party, or this political leader. They're going to kill you all. So let me ask you a question. What do you think they're gaining out of that? They meaning the five or six entities that control all the mainstream media. What are they gaining, in your opinion, April, by keeping us in the constant state of confusion?
Well, first, can you see me now?
I can see you, but you're frozen, and it's a beautiful freeze. I got to be honest with you.
Is it really? I don't know what to do with a freeze.
But we can still hear you. So that's the issue. So just stay still and look pretty, and talk kind of like this, and it'll be perfect.
Okay, it says connection's unstable. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging into your router. So it would seem that the Wi-Fi is not great.
Well, we can hear you. Again, that's all that matters. We can hear you.
Okay. All right. Maybe every bit of Wi-Fi around us needs to be shut off to help.
Okay. Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe I have to. Okay. It's my internet connection. Okay, great, wonderful.
If you have a phone on, maybe you could turn your phone off. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, I just took the Wi-Fi off. Great. Switch to mic only. It'll show your icon. Thanks, Allie. I appreciate that. Did that help at all, or no? Yes. Hello, anyone? Now you're frozen. Okay. Well, thumbs. Anybody hear me? Anyone?
I can hear you.
Okay, you froze too, Wayne.
Yeah.
All right. Really? Yes, you did.
Yes, but they can hear us, so it's all great.
Let's just pretend. All right.
Let's pretend it's an audio audio podcast. Billy the boss says we can hear it. Right? Everyone says we can hear you. All right, very good. We lost everything for a second.
I think maybe where I am right now, they're working on the internet or something, which is not ideal. With Ray, he has his internet plugs in. Mine does not. So all right. So well, what do I think they have to gain from it?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't even know. Well, first off, let me explain what that cortisol does, and then we go from there.
Please.
All right. So that primary stress hormone, that cortisol, it creates sugar in the bloodstream, and it's linked to high blood pressure, obesity, type 2 diabetes, Cushing syndrome, acne, fatigue, adrenal gland stress, cortisol belly, which is a saggy belly. So all of these things obviously create lots of profit when it comes to the medical community.
I was about to say that. So let me if I hear you correctly, the medical community is going to gain by keeping us in fear. Is that what I'm hearing? If that's
well, I have always been a firm believer that the FDA and the AMA are all in bed together. So if you create the disease, whether it's food or through perpetuating fear, you can create the disease, and then you create the medication or the vaccine to cure it.
Right. Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Win-win, especially when you live in a for-profit country.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Peter Vincent says, I was just going to say,
go ahead.
Peter says, I suspect part of the keep them nervous /afraid /on edge mindset is to keep us more prone to carelessly opening up our wallets. That's a good one too. Well, that kind of falls into something as well. It's funny that you mentioned that, because that goes into this. When the amygdala, when the part of your brain senses fear, the cerebral cortex, which is the reasoning, logic, and judgment part of your brain, it shuts down. It becomes impaired. So now it's difficult to think clearly or make good decisions, i.e., should I buy this? Should I spend this money? Should I go do this thing? So you might be right. I mean, why wouldn't you open your wallet when you're got an impaired judgment?
We've been taught in this country that if you don't feel good, just go buy something. Buy something that'll make you feel better. You know, it's funny. I was at I heard a pastor talk the other day. It was good sermon. He talked about love and the opposite of love. He opened his sermon with the opposite of. He goes, love, and we're going to talk about love today, and then we're going to talk about the opposite of love. And everyone's like, well, opposite of love is hate, right? He goes, no.
Love is love and fear are opposites. Yeah,
exactly. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. I didn't really think about it that way, but sure enough, if you're fearful, you're not in a state of joy and love. But if you are in a state of joy and love, fear is kind of off. Fear can be off the table. So I found that to be very interesting.
Chuck says FDA is so corrupt. If they said oxygen was good for you, I would seriously consider stopping breathing. you and several of us, I think. War Demon says the treatment, but never the cure. And Alex says that I mentioned my dad was at the recent Comic-Con. You did. So I gotta hear what happens when you don't think clearly or make good decisions. It creates kind of a reactive snap judgment society. Would you say that that's where we are today? What do you guys think in the chat? So here's another one. Fear impairs the formation of long-term memories. So think about this for a second. Think where you are in life now. How is your memory? How are you doing in relation to this? So fear impairs the formation of long-term memories, and it causes damage to certain parts of the brain, such as the hippocampus, which is used for learning, obviously memory, motivation, and emotion. So fear over a long time can cause damage to your brain. Isn't that interesting? So if you know this, if you're armed with this information, because information is power, and you're fully aware of what fear can do to your chemicals, can do to you biologically, then you're ahead of the game already, right? So you realize that what's going on is almost like the Wizard of Oz. You pull back the curtain and see the little guy back there kind of manipulating everything. So if you know that, what do you do? Now, some people prefer to remove themselves from all fearful situations. shut off the news, turn everything, get themselves away from anything that scares them. But there's new research out that shows that if you actually expose yourself to what it is that scares you for at least 5 minutes a day, you can overcome that fear. And you do it consciously knowing, hey, this is just going to scare me, but I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make the choice not to be afraid of it.
Okay. All right. So let's take that, and as we're listening to what people say in the comments, let's go back to the other fear for a second, and let's talk about that fear, that fun fear, that that shocking thing, the one that increases dopamine, and talk about, give me your thoughts on the good sense of fear. We talked about the guilt will get us into the gym, but fear will, for example, fear of another botched election will get people going out to vote. A fear of losing someone will get us to treat someone better, that kind of thing. So fear is not a bad thing, right? But constant fear is what we're talking about, right? So let's talk about, so how many people in the chat enjoy being afraid? Like go to parks on purpose. How many people enjoy, I can't stand horror movies. It freaks me out. Even though I've made a few of them, I can't watch them. I've made 2 horror films. I can't watch them.
I made a bunch of them. I've made several and I don't like them. But Eva loves them. She's seen every horror movie out there, just about. She's addicted.
So I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I apologize.
I said Eva loves them. She's seen just about every horror movie out.
You've made a couple horror films yourself, have you?
Yes.
All right, very good.
Not as many movies as you, but yes.
Oh no, sure, they're great. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get the. I'm one of those weird people. So this is me. Tell me what you think about this. I am one of those weird people that if it's something tragic, like if it's a big deal, for some reason I get totally calm and I get like very focused. Like I lived through the Northridge earthquake, and while everyone else is freaking out, like it was the most calming moment for me. It's like things just made sense to me. So if there's like some sort of big deal, my brain does this thing, but I get scared at the littlest other stuff. Are we going to run out of water? Are we going to run out of food? Is Biden going to get reelected? Like those kinds of things I get freaked out about. So will there be enough ammunition? Who knows? So just things to think about.
That's funny. Winona says it's called exposure therapy, and the concept's been around for years, but it's just now gaining traction.
Okay, so explain that. Explain what that means.
Well, that's the expose yourself to 5 minutes. Like if you're scared of heights, you go to those treetop where you climb across the treetop things, and you expose yourself to that.
Right. Yeah,
things like that. Totally. If you're scared of blood, go find blood. You know what I mean?
Go find blood.
Go find blood.
Walk around with a knife. Hey, I need your help getting over my fear.
Right. If you're scared of pit bulls, go volunteer at the shelter. That kind of thing. Expose yourself to it.
Right. So you're talking about something else. So I heard you're about to lead into this other subject you were talking about, because you were talking about fear, and we also wanted to talk about, what's the other thing you want to talk about tonight? You want to talk about the difference between socialism and capitalism. People are afraid of capitalism. People are afraid of socialism. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. War Demon says, will the yellow dye in number 5 in my Mountain Dew give zero sugar give me cancer? Yeah, these are
yes, it will.
Exactly. These are but you're trying to hear these are rational fears, kind of, because you're like, okay, I'm not eating sugar, but will the other shit in this give me cancer? So yeah, it's like, or I'm drinking more water. Great. But will the fluoride mess me up? You know what I mean? It's like, so you get to the point where it's just like, all right, moderation, just moderation. We're going to learn to live in moderation.
let me get back to something I forgot for a second. If you don't mind me jumping in and pretending to be a co-host for a second.
Mhm.
If we are not afraid on a roller coaster, because we know the roller coaster is going to end, if we're not afraid, or we enjoy the fear of a horror film because we know it's going to end, we know it's just actors and science and makeup. So I have a certain faith that says all of that what we're seeing right now has already been predestined and fate oriented, and it's all going to be okay.
Mhm.
There's going to be an awakening. There's going to be a spiritual awakening over the entire world. So when we talked earlier about being red pilled or purple pilled, a lot of people are like that. It's almost like we're waiting for the rest of the world to catch up, so that you realize all of this stuff is designed to keep you in fear, is designed to keep you huddled up, afraid of your neighbor, so that we don't talk to our neighbor. So we get canceled if we want to talk. We're afraid to say certain things on certain programs, because as soon as you say a certain keyword, they pop you out over technical difficulties. So you got to kind of work that angle. But I know the back of my book, it says that it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. Now, is it going to be okay because of a person that comes down and just takes care of everything, or does this understanding that we are connected to a God that loves us is going to be able to take care of all the rest of the nonsense that we're scared of? Do we create that? Are we more powerful than we give ourselves credit for? And I think the answer is yes. So for me and my faith, it says that as long as we believe and stay in joy, we can get rid of the fear. Like, the fear doesn't affect us. And I have a very Alex Jonesy kind of way of looking at fear, is that I believe, and maybe some people, without saying angels or demons or whatever, I do believe that there's other entities. We're not the only entities here. I believe that it's feeding off of our confusion and our fear. I believe we're in there on purpose. And the more I'm afraid and the more I'm scared I am, the more unsure and confused, the more that vibration, very low vibration, I believe that there are dark forces that love that. I do believe that with all my heart, whether that sounds crazy to you or not. So how can I fight that? How can I fight forces that I can't see? How can I fight dark forces in this room that I can't see? I don't. I just raise my vibration, and I raise my vibration. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just saying that's what I do. Sorry, my ear just fell out.
Yeah, we talked about that last week about raising your vibration. We had that whole about trying to find the joy in everyday life.
Okay, well that's how you fight it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how you fight it. That's how you fight it, is just stay in joy. And that's why I think I'm of a particular faith. I'm of the Christian faith, and I as a Christian, I don't particularly care for dogma. I can't stand what the American church has done to people that are looking for the Christ consciousness. I think I have a different understanding of it. So my overall fear of where we're going, I'm not afraid of. I'm afraid for my children, the people that I love. Like, I want them to be okay. But overall, I want to live to see the Christ consciousness surround the world. I want to live to the point where we've been fooled for so long. Every single, government has lied to us, has cheated us, has stolen from us. And they just keep us on this treadmill because they love it. For some reason, they just love it. For some reason, this anti-human understanding that they have, as long as they can keep us in fear, they're in power, and they love that power. Where me is like, I could care less whether I'm a powerful person sitting on a hill in charge of all of you or not. I just want the people I love to be okay. That's my power. And I also believe that's the thing that keeps most of my fear away, is just that power, that love, that joy. So go ahead.
Well, Winona said there's also the theory too that the fear dumbs down the God gene that we all have, which is funny that you mentioned that. Somebody just sent me a video, and I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but there is a video out there from way back. I mean, it's like early 2000s of Bill Gates having a presentation with the CIA. These are all probably keywords that are going to get me in trouble here. Having a presentation, and he's teaching them that they've developed a particular vaccination that can kill off the am I saying this right? Because you've seen it too, right? It
Yeah,
can kill off
the
the
MAT2
you,
gene
you do
or
it.
something. It's a MAT. There's okay. Yeah, he has developed a vaccine. This is way back in
It
2005
disconnects you to your
that
spirituality,
disconnects you from your spirituality.
and it
So
makes you turn disgusted with it. It basically
so
turns you into a atheist, but the worst kind of atheist, one with contempt and disgust.
right.
So it disconnects you from having any kind of spirituality.
You know what? Do you think
Or
it's funny?
well, disconnected people are easy to control
Manipulate.
too, right?
Absolutely.
So Billy says that video is a hoax.
It's Billy, I've seen it 100 times. I don't believe it's a
So
hoax.
is it? No, I don't. It's hard to
I
tell
don't
what's
think
real
so.
and what's not these days, especially when it comes to Bill Gates. Oh my God!
If it's a hoax, it's the most brilliant hoax I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is.
I was told when I first started seeing that video like 5 years ago that it was a movie rehearsal. Well, I'm an actor and I've been in 50 or so movies. That's not a rehearsal. So totally HJOA. I don't know what that means. What is HJOA? Anyway.
I don't know.
If it's a hoax, that's better. I'm great. If it's a hoax, awesome. I don't believe it is.
You know what? I actually hope it's a hoax.
I hope it is.
Yeah, he said unless I'm thinking of the wrong video. You know what? I'll have to find it and send it to you, BRB.
Yeah, I mean, because it's so real, and
I hope you are right and we are wrong.
When I put it up on Facebook a few years ago, I was kicked off Facebook immediately. So there's something real when you get kicked off Facebook. I was on a roll there for a second. I forgot what it was.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just thought that was interesting about the alleged God gene. So
yeah. Oh no. Here, check this out. You know how we talk about this is what we talk about, stuff like this. They talk about everything, but they don't talk about the brain. Mm-mm. And if you notice, like the brain is something when no one ever talks about. So the skin, boobs, the size of one's penis, like there's whatever skin color, whatever. Let's cut the penis off, but no one talks about the brain. I believe because the brain and the pineal gland and all these other stuff that's been hidden from us, the brain is probably more important than you could possibly imagine. And if they can keep us dumb, they can keep us filled with, like you said, cortisol. If they can keep us confused, if they can keep us a low vibration, what can they also keep from us? Well, they can keep God from us. They can keep any kind of spirituality. So that's their job. They've been doing their job very well. And I think this is the generation where they start to lose their job. We're going on the trip. That's what I think.
I hope you're right.
So, there's my tangent. Thanks for listening.
So I wanted to share with you guys. That's a good tangent. Thank you very much. And I can't say that I disagree with most of that. I wanted to share with you guys that when I went to Full Sail University, we learned a lot of search terms in our journalism class on how to find things when you're researching, I don't know, anything. There's a lot of tricks using different, quotations and plus signs, subtraction signs, and everything. So there's a new one out that you might appreciate. And okay, it is, if you want to search for things to avoid AI generated spam and, to find real information previous to like 2023, you type in quotation before. Now these are the BE, FORE colon 2023 quotation. So it's quotation before colon 2023, and then whatever you're searching. And you're going to see, try doing the search on Google. This is Google, of course. Google's not a real search engine. It pulls up what's popular. It's not actually a true search engine. So you have to learn how to manipulate it. So you do your search without using before colon 2023, and then do your search after, and you'll see very different results. But that might help you when you're looking for things that are now getting edged out by a lot of AI, SEO, and spam. So hope that works for you. I watched a video the other day that I wish I had finished, but I would have loved to have presented it on here, and maybe we'll talk about it next week. But It was talking about how, and Colin, hi everybody joining us late. I appreciate it. Hi. And Winona just said the scary thing, a hoax or not, it's people that have a mad scientist energy. They're probably capable of things like that, and some people are not all. Yeah, that's the thing. The fact that we're even questioning if it is a hoax or not is that shows exactly how insane Bill Gates actually is and how scary he is. We know what he's capable of. We've seen it. We know, or at least we have an idea of what he's capable of. So it's a little bit frightening. So if you've ever seen that Utopia, they had a British version and an American version. Both of them were based on Bill Gates. Like, he was the mad scientist.
Really?
He was creating the fake meat that caused the virus that killed all the kids.
Oh.
So that was, the character was based on him. So, yeah. So apparently I need to, Colin, my camera's not working out well or something. So BRV says not Bill Gates in the video. I know you. Well, I know it doesn't say it's Bill Gates, but it's. They're not going to admit that, but
I've watched it 100. Billy, I mean, I'm just gonna let you know, like, I stand by what I think. I hope I'm wrong. I'll just be completely honest with you, but I've watched the video probably a dozen times. I would consider myself an expert on vocal tonality. I do voices. I'm an actor. I've done 10,000 voices. I consider myself an expert on how movies are made, and how one of those guys who was, when I was in LA, I would see someone's ear from 40 feet away and I knew what actor that was, or I'd hear someone say something in a whisper and I'm like, I know that guy, he played in this movie, that movie. So whoever it is, it sounds and looks exactly like Bill Gates. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And from what he's saying, and the interaction between him and the supposed 3-letter agency people is so not. If it was an act, it's the greatest scene I've ever seen in my life. It is Oscar worthy. So my point is, I believe it's real, even if it's not real. It's the greatest hoax I've ever seen in my life.
So we're having problems. Sorry, we're having problems with our screens and our internet. So. Everybody's complaining about our freezing, so I don't know how to fix that.
You guys can hear us. Close your eyes and remember how pretty April is and how ruggedly handsome I am, and just close your eyes and listen, because we're having a great conversation here.
Yeah, sorry about that, you guys. Normally Ray is using a different system than I am, so I apologize. So
Bigwood Biz, Bigwood says we're just have to admit it. April needs a man. Okay, all right. Well, good to know. I'll let her know.
Fix anything.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Eva says I can hear just fine. Who cares? Yes, that's the spirit, Eva. That's the spirit. Yes. Who cares?
So I was watching the video I was talking about earlier that I was watching was a video on how bad Uber Eats marks everything up, and how Uber in general, how bad they mark everything up, and how they used to be a much cheaper alternative to the taxi services, but now they're almost the same price or higher. They started offering all these different tiers, and the bottom tiers. And hello, Nomad 47, welcome. The bottom tier is people that have bad ratings or an older car, or they have, they aren't reliable, and you have to pay for these upper tiers. And now, if you want your food to arrive on, it used to be you ordered Uber Eats and your food was going to come to you. Now it's like they're doing 4 stops. And if you want your food to show up at a reasonable time and still be hot, you have to pay the delivery fee. And then on top of that, an extra fee on top of that. So an order of nuggets, which is normally about, $4.95, is now $14 to get just an order of chicken nuggets to you by a reasonable time. And in cities like New York, they're dinging people like crazy. And if you don't do a really healthy tip on top of that, they're not going to choose to pick you first. They're going to choose all the people that tip first. So it's crazy that it has gotten to that. And I see people that have these ridiculous credit card bills because of Uber Eats. So I want to ask, why don't people use something like a meal prep place like a HelloFresh or one of the menu things where you choose the food online and you get however many meals a week, and it costs you like 50 or 70 bucks, and the food's fresh, and they teach you how to cook your meals, and nobody has to bring it to you, and you don't have to tip anyone, and you don't even have to go to the store. Like, why aren't people doing that more often instead of being, basically kind of held hostage to places like Uber Eats for your food and having to pay out the ass to get it on time when you're actually paying more? I'm just curious. Wouldn't that make more sense?
My personal opinion is, I'm not as, I've been on this planet for about 50 some odd years, and I have watched people get dumber and dumber and dumber. And I'm pretty sure that my grandfather or my great grandfather showed up and looked at me, they'd probably go, "You're so much stupider than I ever was." I think it's conditioning. We've been conditioned into a society where it's all about purchasing. They create the dollar. Mm-hmm. They give us the dollar so that they could give us back the dollar so they can have the power over the dollar. It doesn't make any sense. It's mind blowing to me. So we've come to this point where it's all about. I was having this discussion with someone today. It's all about what the kids have. What it's how many likes does the kids have? How many videos can the kids make that people like? The currency now is, what can we buy to make us feel good for the moment? What can we watch or upload to make us feel good for the moment? There's no stability. There's no solid ground on our emotions or our feelings. And much also in the community, we're just constant buying. I need to buy. I don't feel good about myself. I need to buy something. I don't feel good about myself. I need to take something. I don't feel good about myself. I need to drink something. So unless it all comes to an end, it's just going to keep getting worse. Unless someone pulls the plug, like Ready Player One, and just pulls the plug, and we're forced to look at each other. There was this movie called these two robots. It was WALL-E, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but like they're up on the ship, and in the ship, these people have been living for generations, and for generations they've just been looking at their phones and getting larger and larger and dumber and dumber. And then one day the power goes off and they look at each other and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know we had a pool. I didn't know that I had a neighbor." It's going to have to come down to that. I was talking to a friend of mine at the beginning of the pandemic, like right in the middle of it. I went to Colorado to film something, and I was like, very smart guy, very spiritual. Like he kind of taught me a lot. And I said, where's all this going to go? Because I was using my faith as a barometer. I was like, I feel like we're in the Revelations. I feel like we're there. He goes, "Yeah, we are, but it's all good." And I went, "Like what?" He goes, "We're going back to the Stone Age." I went, "Well, that doesn't sound good." He goes, "No, it's going to be good." The Schwabs are trying to do a reset of their own because they know that the real reset is coming. And the real reset is humanity getting back together and giving a shit about humanity, as opposed to what phone do I have, or who liked my Facebook post, or how much money can I get off my Instagram pictures, or something like that. So I'm sorry, I just went off on a rant. I don't know if that had anything to do with anything we're talking about.
Well, okay. So we'll go back to okay. I get it. So some people don't want to. I get what you're saying. They don't want to get up and cook. So my point to that is, say you live alone, right? And you order 3 meals for the week for 2 people. You still are only going to cook. You cook 3 times. You get 6 meals. So you cook, and then the next night you just heat something up. You cook, heat something up. Cook, heat something up. So it isn't as labor intensive as people would think. So you can still have, as Eva put, on demand food. That's part of the reason why she thinks Uber Eats is so popular, on demand food. But you can still kind of do that if you cook a little bit ahead. So I don't understand why people allow themselves to be held hostage to something, and then they don't have any skills. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to sew. They don't know how to fix things. It's kind of like I don't know.
Well, let's talk about it for a second. For example, let's go through a practical understanding of why does someone want to take their kids out to eat as opposed to cooking. It's to what? It's to save time. It's to I don't want to do the dishes. So basically what's happened is we have lost joy, and I'm guilty. We have lost the joy in preparing meals and giving a meal and watching someone eat the meal. I'm as guilty. I stand here completely guilty of it. Like, I don't cook. I wish I cooked more. I want to cook for my kids. I used to cook for my kids. I don't cook for my kids that much anymore. I think after admitting this, I probably will. But I think there's a joy to it that we've just lost. It's this fear of missing out. Like, if I don't hurry up and eat and watch the next thing on my phone, I'm going to miss out on what's going on in the world. And if I miss out on what's going on in the world, I'm not a real person, as opposed to what's going on in the world.
Is that really a thing?
Oh, yeah. It's a fear of missing out. Absolutely. It's called FOMO.
Is that really? Okay. So we'll notice this. If you notice, there's way more advertising for services like Uber Eats and DoorDash than for home chef services. That goes back to it's easier for people to tell me what I need as opposed to thinking for myself. That's
also very true.
Yeah. And then, Chuck says, I know how to cook and I buy my own groceries. And Peter said, and I thought this was interesting, and dear Lord, don't even get me started on the whole, you must make content imperative. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
Yes. And, part of that's going to bring us to our next topic too, where I want to hear your inputs on the capitalism versus socialism thing. But Canada Spaceman says, making your own meal does not have to take more than 15 minutes, even if you are lazy. Like making your own sub sandwiches at home is cheaper and healthier. I worked at Subway, so I know. So you are so accurate. And, I'm a big fan of what I call fast meal cheating. So I'll start and you get the frozen cut up veggies or the frozen fruit, and you get certain things that are, you're halfway there already. So you can go ahead and doctor them up and add the cheese and scramble the eggs or add all the spices. And then you get what's kind of partially, and you throw it all together and you have something within about 8 minutes. So for example, you get the shredded beef. You throw the shredded beef in there, toss in some sauteed onions, which may or may not be frozen and diced up. Throw the peppers in, toss that all with some cheese and some spices, throw all that on some toasted garlic bread. It's amazing. And that meal has just taken about 12 minutes.
I'm coming right over. I'll be right there.
It's an easy meal. Yeah. So, but Wolf says, I know how to cook myself. Hang on, where is it? Sorry, like I said, be patient with me here. I know how to cook myself. I help my mom and people at the shop at times with meetings and stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. It's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. There's a joy.
Semi-homemade cooking is awesome. I love that. The semi-homemade cooking.
There's a joy that's been missing, and even like now, if you go to restaurants, don't get me started. I know we have only got an hour, but like if you go to restaurants now, the people that did well, I was a bartender for many years. I mean, an actor, I had to be a bartender. It's kind of a law in LA. Like if you're gonna be an actor, you have to be a bartender and a waiter, or you don't get your SAG card. So I was doing a lot of service work, and you enjoyed it. There was a part, if you enjoyed it, I enjoyed serving drinks. I enjoyed serving people. Big
Wig says, if you have a wife, it takes you no time at all. Now, aren't you the one that previously said that your Christmas gift was that you got rid of your wife? Now you either have a wife or you get rid of the wife. You cannot have it both ways, okay?
Can't have it both ways. That Big Wig hasn't eaten in a while, apparently. Big Wig hasn't eaten. Yeah. So, but like people have lost the joy of serving, and I understand, because some people have lost the joy of just being respectful to people who serve. So anyway, that's a whole nother show. But yeah, just be joyful. Be joyful. Find joy in what you're doing. Find gratitude in what you're doing, and things will okay. Hey, listen. 5 years ago, at the beginning of the pandemic, I was bussing tables. And I loved it. I found joy in it. And when I found joy in it, other things started to happen. God shows up, the universe, however you want to put it, starts to show up and starts to give you stuff if you find joy in what you're doing right now.
Oh.
There. That's my speech.
All right. Chuck writes, when I worked midnights, the slow cooker was my friend. Frozen meatballs, chili sauce, and jellied cranberry. Turn it on, go to sleep. When I got up, it was done. That sounds
Come
pretty
on.
good. Do
Come
you guys
on.
have any? You guys have any easy recipes that we could share in here?
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So I hope you pick up your package so your chocolate won't get expired. I haven't been to my mailbox yet, but they are air conditioned there. If I know there's chocolate, I have to go pick it up. So
Have you ever gotten a roast and just put it in like the slow roaster, the slow cooker? You put the roast in, you put some carrots and some potatoes in there, and literally you go away for 12 hours, come back, and it's the greatest thing you've ever tasted.
no, but I have done that with chicken thighs and coconut milk, rice, and soy sauce. I've made coconut chicken. So it turns out really good, super tender, falls off the bones. Yeah. Big Week's like, now I got to order out. So if Eva says pre-season the meat the night before and then use 90-second rice. Yeah, the packages of the 90-second rice. Oh my God. So much easier. So yeah, there's a couple things. We found there's, Chuck says he's done the roast. There's a lot of cheats on getting around and having some real fast meals. And me personally, huge fan of Brenner. And that is breakfast for dinner. And you can do that in like 10 minutes. So there was never anything wrong with eggs for dinner. So Canada Spaceman says there's a running joke in Toronto in the 1980s about Mr. Fong's, a fat delivery driver who bit at your door and he'd eaten half your meal with all the grease down his t-shirt and expected a tip. Probably wasn't a joke.
Yeah, it's probably happening right now.
Yeah. Soup and a sandwich, Eva says. Big Wee says, get a can of Chef Boyardee ravioli. Open it up, pour it in a bowl, heat in a microwave, and eat. That's some old school stuff, Bigwig, right there. Notary says eggs over white rice is, eggs over white rice is the bomb. Something easy and quick. That does sound pretty good. I mean, we've all done the butter noodles, right?
Butter noodles. I mean, just noodles with butter. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Canada Spaceman says, if nobody has it, buy a salad spinner, wash your lettuce and spin it dry. It dries really quick. I'm going to take it a step further. If you want a quick dinner, those pre-made salads, you can buy those pre-made salads that are, like a Southwestern salad or whatever, and then buy a bag of this is like if you're in a hurry, but you don't want to eat fast food, buy a bag of those hard-boiled eggs. And then you can have your pre-made salad, dump that in a bowl, cut up a couple of the eggs on top, throw some bacon bits on that, some chopped up green onions, and some cheese. You got a bacon, egg, and cheese salad on top of the Southwest salad. It is so good, and it's super fast. So it's delicious. Oh, and throw some avocado on it. Boom, done.
Oh,
easy.
You're killing me, Smalls. You really are. Killing me.
So Winona says throw some little pot with some Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce and grape jelly. Really? That's a basic appetizer at any party here in the South. Okay.
Right.
And adding to the grape jelly theme, we have try a grilled cheddar cheese and grape jelly sandwich.
Oh my God.
I would never have thought about that.
This is interesting. Do you know what? I know. I'm sorry. I'm going off on a tangent here, but now that we've gotten some interesting talks, I know you want to talk about something else. But when I was with a band. I was several bands. At one point, we were on a tour, and it was just this little town. I think it was Bow Weevil, Alabama. Do you remember that? It was a little town called Enterprise, Alabama. Yeah, we were stuck there for like a week.
Sorry,
and, we were stuck there.
I kind of grew up there. I don't know what you were going to do for a week. 2 days, you've seen everything.
Oh yeah, well, we were stuck there for a week, and we ran out of food really, really fast. And so the only thing that was in the trailer where we were staying was peanut butter, crackers, and jalapenos. Oh no, pickles. So literally we ate peanut butter and pickles on crackers for a week and we survived. It was actually pretty good. I actually took it home and ate peanut butter and pickles somewhere else. So anyway, apparently I'm pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what do you do?
Yeah, any minute now.
So Canada Spaceman said bars are no longer classy. None of them have a jar of pickled eggs on the counter. Right? Remember that was a thing?
Yeah.
And then everybody just reaches into the peanuts and helps themselves. Freaking COVID ruined everything.
Did it?
The things that we did honestly, the things that we used to do, we would just, and no, we never thought twice about it. Just everybody just reaches into the peanuts no matter what and helps themselves. Bare ass hands. We don't know if you wash your hands or not. We don't know what you just did with your hands. We don't know where your hands have been or where they have not been or any of that. But yes, we just ate those peanuts and those nuts on the bar. We ate them nuts.
These nuts.
We ate them nuts.
Talk about? What else we got tonight?
And everything's good when you're high, Wade.
It's true. It's true.
So are you guys I'm gonna pop this in for just a minute or two before we go to the next one. Have you guys noticed that everything is falling down around us regarding the jabs, this thing? I mean, it has gotten crazy. And if you've been watching us or listening to us for a long time, you know that we predicted this like 4 years ago, right? 3 years ago. And you know that we said, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what's coming. It's not going to be pretty. And oh my God, has it been hitting hard? I mean, so hard. And it's hard to watch. I mean, it's really hard to watch. It's really difficult to watch. And I don't even want to go super into it, but two of the things that really hit me hard this week, because every week something more and more is coming out. One of the things that happened this week is one of the main medical experts who advised on the news channels what was busted. And it turns out that not only was she not an expert, but she was not a doctor. She was not a doctor. And this is somebody that like CNN and MSNBC and everybody she wrote an article advising on how to handle the COVID crisis and pushing masks and vaccinations. And it turns out that she called herself an expert and a physician, and she was neither. And people they just took her at her word that she was an expert and a doctor. Oh my God. And I have to wonder how much of this went around. Like how many fake credentialed people are out there? I mean, we know that the fact checkers are fake. So how many how many people out there calling themselves doctors were out there pushing stuff? That's insane. And then there was a doctor at like 42 years old who was very heavily pro this, who just died suddenly from a heart attack the other day. So
Dr. Alfredo Victorio, I think it was. I saw that. Yeah. And we don't even know. Here's the thing: we don't even know if he was a doctor. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, who knows if he was a real doctor?
Yeah, I believe he was a doctor, and and he did a lot of stuff online too. And I can't help but think, like, how many people is he responsible for killing? How many patients did he push this on, both in person and online? Because they had a big online community as well. So it's crazy how dangerous these people are, who are actually calling all this information, and then the people like the ones warning you that have everything to lose and nothing to gain and no money to make from it. They're calling them the disinformation people. So it's insane.
Them, it's you, it's us. I mean, you don't call a spade a spade. It is you. It is guys. It is people like us. I've been speaking out. I've been speaking out since the very beginning. I've had people like, "Aren't you afraid of losing work and any kind of?" Well, no, I'm not. Because if there's a production company or a venue that doesn't want to hire my band or hire me to do a movie because I'm telling you something that could save your life, if you don't want to hire me because of that, I don't want to work for you anyway. So I just wanted to get all that ass for thing,
Alex asked if he died of a heart attack. So he died suddenly at 40 something years old. Like, so much has been going on. It's hard to watch. It's really hard to watch. Yeah, it's really hard to watch. So it makes me, and hello Cheng Fu, how are you doing? So yeah, it makes me upset. It frustrates me because when you reach out with actual information and you have everything to lose and you know nothing to gain, and then people assume that you are trying to mislead them. It's like, look, I'm not going to get anything from this. I'm not. If anything, I'm
Right.
going to lose something from this. So what do I have to gain from this? So try and consider that in the future when you hear information. So try and figure out if the person giving you the information has anything to gain, like truly
Right.
anything to gain. So one of the interesting stories I saw this week was somebody did a funny video on why free market, why capitalism was bad. And it was entertaining. It said capitalism creates a nonstop, work culture. You got to work, 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 work. Capitalism does this. Capitalism does that. Capitalism does this. And and it was interesting, but it was a video kind of pro socialism, and I'm curious to know what your opinions are. And it was interesting to read the comments because I think a lot of times what people think is capitalism, they're confusing and not understanding what corporatism is. So in America, we are officially or unofficially, I don't know what you call it, corporatism. So here's the saying that everybody knows: breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Is that true or is that not true? Where did it come from? We just accept it, right? We accept it. That obviously breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right? It's not. We know that now. We know that intermittent fasting is a thing, and that's very, very good for us. It's good for our health, our blood sugar, our weight, everything. So how can breakfast be the most important meal of the day if it's not? Here's what it is. It was a term coined a long time ago by General Mills, the company that sells you breakfast. So corporations have been running this country for a long time, and they have been getting more and more and more power. So, for example, if you have a true free market in the United States, then when you move into a place where you live, you will have multiple choices of power companies. Do you have that?
No.
Do any of us have multiple choices of a power company, or do we just have that one choice?
One choice.
Right. And here in where I live, our power company is Tampa Electric Company, which is actually owned. They're in Canada. So we're not even an American owned. It's not even American owned. We're Canadian, the Canadian company, the supplier. So our electric here is about 4 times higher than somewhere else, literally. So I pay like $400 a month for my electric, where somebody else pays about $98.
That's crazy.
So it is. It's nuts. So when you see so the corporations put into the political campaigns, or they support the politicians, and then the politicians have to create laws to protect the corporations, and that's what happens. So it's not really a true free market. We haven't had a true free market in quite a while, and that's what happened with our what do you call it? That's what happened with our. Sorry, my brain is slow today. I haven't had enough coffee, and I'm trying to do a lot of things at once too.
You're doing great. You really are. Doing great.
I'm slow. That's what happened with our media as well. We had something like, I think, like 30 different media companies, and now we've got 5.
Because they were all
and JC2, hi, how are you doing? Thank you. Yeah, JC2 says we don't have choices on anything anymore, and it's a problem. It's crazy. It's like I don't understand how these aren't monopolies at this point. Yeah, exactly. Canada Space Fan says too many monopolies to cut secret deals with governments. So how is Blackstone and Vanguard not a monopoly when they run everything? Blackstone and Vanguard have even started. They bought up the Ukraine farmland. So why are Blackstone and Vanguard, who also owned a large chunk of property, they're one of the biggest investors in Maui. Why are they able to buy record labels, catalogs, record companies? Like, I don't know, they could have somebody like Neil Young freak out on Spotify against Joe Rogan because they tell him to do it.
Right.
They own the farm. They partner with Pfizer. So they are the ones behind the housing crisis because they own all the property companies. So 1 in 4 houses are owned by corporations. Now, 25% of the single family homes are owned by a corporation, Blackstone, Vanguard, and traded on the stock market. How are Blackstone and Vanguard not a monopoly? And how are we still considered a free market? And they want to tell us, well, you want to be a democracy. You don't want to be a democracy. A democracy is where 51% of the population control the other 49%. You do not want to be a democracy. You do not want to spread democracy. You want to be a sovereign republic,
Amen.
A sovereign democracy. So this is where we need to get back to. So, and we have to understand that we are corporatocracy, which is a form of fascism. So when you talk about socialism versus free market, a lot of people they don't understand that there's something in the middle there that's cock blocking all of it. Now, it's true. So, I mean, should healthcare ever be free market? Hell no. Every other country does they do a socialism form of healthcare, and they're right. They're right, because there's no amount of money that a parent wouldn't pay to make their child well. And you should never profit off of that. So doing socialized healthcare, yeah, that's the way we should go. There's certain things that should be socialized. Absolutely. But we don't have a true free market. And if we did, things would be better. And we would have choices, and you vote with your dollars.
So you've been all over the world. So where do you find, you've been to socialist countries and free market countries? Like,
I've been to communist countries too.
So tell us your experience. Like, where did you find? Did you feel real quick? I consider myself a communist when I was growing up until I started having kids and I started running my own business, and I was like, this communism thing is not going to work. So where did you find communism worked or socialism worked in any of the countries that you ever visited or wrestled in or vacation? Tell me about that experience.
Well, did you consider yourself a communist or socialist? Because they're different. One slides into the other, but were you which way were you?
I didn't know enough at the time about anything. Here's what my point is. I was being inundated by the propaganda. I didn't realize I was being inundated. I was one of those guys, if the TV said it, it must be true. And these corporate capital people are bad, and we must, it was like every generation or so, they kind of slip in a little socialism, see how many people bite on it. Apparently now more people are biting on it than ever. But for me, this ties into the fear thing. As a younger person, I was fearful that I wasn't going to be what I wanted to be. Other people were achieving things that I wanted to achieve, and so that wasn't fair, and it hurt my little heart. So what happened was I wanted the whole thing to be even, so they could come down and meet me where I was at, as opposed to giving me the strength to get up here and do it. So I believe socialism, and you can correct me and give me the proper definition. Socialism and communism is where weak people get upset that stronger people are more successful and want to bring them down a whole bunch of notches. You got more than me. I don't want to work to get it, or I don't like how you got it, so now give me some of it. So, and I'll be honest with you, that's the way I felt as a younger person, because I didn't know any better. And so what you're doing here is teaching people to know better. So please.
Well, if everything is equal, right? And I'm going to read some of the comments that people are posting because it's pretty good.
Okay.
And Bigwig will actually, he makes a point. When Jamestown was founded, it was communist, and it didn't last long because nothing got done. So if everybody makes the same amount, no matter what they do, they're going to all earn the same amount. It will encourage people to do as little as possible. Whereas if you award based on merit, it avoids people. It's just the way we are. You have to understand human psychology and how we are geared. So all these political systems work in theory. They all work in theory. Communism works in theory. Socialism works in theory. Democracy works in theory. And they all work in theory. But when put in practice, what we're forgetting is the human element. And you need the psychological aspect to be figured in, like how we work as a society. So if you tell everybody, no matter what you do, you tell a bunch of wrestlers, okay? You tell every wrestler in the locker room, no matter who you are and what you do, when you go out there, you're all going to make $50, every one of you. So everybody works, they all make $50. And then the next night, they go out and they party and they drink and they eat and they fuck off and do whatever. And then they keep on that way, right? And sooner or later, they just party and eat, and they whatever. So now you have a bunch of wrestlers that are fat, alcoholic, drug addicts that are getting hurt because none of them are going to the gym. None of them are taking care of themselves. None of them are trying to excel. None of them are trying to look good. None of them are trying to stand out above everybody else, because why should they?
There's no
the
incentive.
lowest denominator is making $50. The highest denominator is making $50. There's no way to change that. So why are they going to work their asses off to try and do any better than the lowest common denominator? So it doesn't work. Right. So in socialism is a similar situation. If we had socialized healthcare in the United States, now don't get me wrong, we do need a socialized system, but not fully socialized, because Americans, again, you have to take into consideration the psyche of each country. Also, what works in Canada is not going to work in America. Canada is a country of morals. We are a country of laws. Canada is a country of we. America is a country of me. So you have Canadians, and they're generally overall a decent people. Americans are generally overall as selfish people. And I say this as somebody who has lived in both places. And I mean no disrespect to anybody. I'm just being honest. So if we had a socialized healthcare system here, you would have it so clogged up with people. And if it didn't cost anything, you have it so clogged up with people running in there just to get a Band-Aid. They would actually go in and clog up. And you're going to have that. Right? Bigwig says that we have that anyway. So because it probably wasn't as bad as it used to be now, right? Bigwig, it's probably devolved to that. Like the NHS is always, you know what I mean? Canada's a better system than the NHS. So what system I think works best for healthcare is the Japanese system, where the government regulates, it does not run. So by having the oversight and not running it, what they do is an MRI, instead of being $500 or $600 or $1,000, the MRI will cost you $85 or $110. So they regulate and they keep the price at a certain point. So everybody, you go in and you pay for your MRI, it's $85. It keeps people from going and trying to get just a free MRI. Everybody, no matter what, you have to pay a $20 copay. That keeps people from coming in to get a Band-Aid. And we would have to have that in America. We have to have some kind of block there to have people coming in to just take. Now, in Cuba, when I was in Cuba, they have a great healthcare system, kind of. But there's a reason why so many people in Florida in the healthcare business are Cubans. They come here and they get into the healthcare business because they're very good at it. They're well trained, they're well skilled, and they aren't making any money at it. So they can come here and make money. So let me read you something.
Just real quick, have you gotten sick in Canada or Cuba?
Oh yeah, I've gotten sick everywhere.
Okay.
I have a low immune system. So I've had the fortune and misfortune, depending on how you look at it. I have used the emergency room in Canada. Both, I've used it from Ontario to Alberta. I have gotten sick in Japan, France, Jamaica, Germany, England. Where England, they actually came to my hotel room. Germany, they came out to our venue. Jamaica, they came out to my hotel. So it's weird. They do house calls in a lot of places. Not so much here. But all the places where I have dealt with medical overseas, the prices are far more reasonable, and they will come to you most of the time. Well, not in Canada. But Canada, when I had my nose broken, while I was there for the same fee, and by the way, a lot of these countries have 2 tiers. you always think they just have a socialist tier, but they do have a privatized tier that you can elect to jump, through and pay and to go, Canada will take you according to your need. So
Will that get you your food faster?
I don't know, but
Okay.
according to, if you elect, but the problem is that the taxes are so high there, people are like, screw that. I've been paying into the system for so long. I want to be able to use it.
Right.
But apparently, according to Canada Spaceman, I haven't been back in a while. He says that it's being clogged up by illegals and immigrants who don't pay taxes now, which is probably what we're going to deal with too.
Yep.
So I'll read you some of the comments that we have here. Well, notice it's the same with cable and internet. If you live in a rural area, you have to go with whatever you're given as far as regarding electric company. So you don't get a choice. So it's not free market. Peter Vinton says in the 18th century, hang on, let me pull these up. Sorry. There we go. I can do it. Let's make magic here. I did it. Okay. In the 18th century, this was called mercantilism. When the select favored merchants held sway over the elected or royal officials, made sure there wasn't too much competition. Definitely not capitalism. It's an outdated word, but maybe needs to be brought back into vogue. It certainly seems to be a decent descriptor. Mercantilism. I like that, huh? Eva says, I would rather pay one tax from my check to take care of everything. So I know that when people are paying the taxes from their check and then they're having healthcare taken out and then they're paying all these massive deductibles at the same time, it adds up. So people might say, oh, I'm taxed at, this rate, but you're not. So you're taxed at this rate, but you're still having your healthcare taken out. You're paying your deductibles. It's adding up to the same amount as what somebody socialist is paying anyway, at least. JC2 says they probably just say that because it sounds better than the truth and people believe the lie instead of seeing the truth. Canada Spaceman says we have too many crybabies fill up the emergency rooms for having a cold or flu in Canada. Alex says the United States should be a free market. Should. See, the problem with, honestly, a lot of times the problem with a free market is it gets corrupted into where we are now with the corporatocracy. And it also creates a nonstop work. Again, everything works in theory. You forget about the human element. When you again, here's the downside. When you do award based on merit, it creates a meritocracy in a way where people just work. So that's the downside. I'm not saying a free market is the end all be all either. So we have a system now where in America, we only get on average 2 weeks paid vacation, right? If that. And a lot of Americans aren't even taking their 2 weeks. What the fuck? We are not meant to work 50 weeks a year straight and not have a break. Human beings were not meant to work that much. So when you have socialist democracies, like say in France, Switzerland, Germany, basically every other country, especially European countries, the average is 6 to 8 weeks off a year. And those are usually paid. You also get 6 months maternity paid, 6 months additional if you want it. That's for the mother and the father. So could you imagine getting 6 months off paid? And
why is it working there and not here? That's my question. What are they doing differently that it's working well there that it's not working here? That's no.
Again, this is a socialist democracy. Some things are working there, some things are not. So and then you look at the straight up communist countries. You've got that's where the state runs everything. I pledge allegiance to the state. So it's all about the state. And they run everything and they control everything. It's state-run media, state-run this, state-run that, censorship, what they say goes. That's not where we want to be. But we are heading there when we have, that's just something we got to be aware of. Whether you see it or not, it doesn't mean it's not happening. Yeah. So when you have gone from a free market into a corporatocracy where all the corporations run everything, now they get to say what they want and how they want to run things. And that's why you're seeing more censorship now. That's why you're seeing a lot less freedom now. I mean, it's a very thin line to go into something with more socialism, more communism. It doesn't take much. So we have to be careful.
Well, I think JC2 said something. I think if you put his coming up, taxes to me are a scam, especially property taxes. If you don't pay your property taxes, they'll take your property. I don't pay payments on a car that's paid for. I own it. Yeah, but you still have to pay insurance. So, and then on top of it, JC2, here's what: if you're going to pay your taxes, and then you don't get to decide where your tax money goes. Well, I want it to go to infrastructure and self-defense or defense. I want it to go to education. No. It's going to go to Zelensky. Don't even think twice. You're going to pay your taxes. It's going to go to a foreign country, and they're going to do with it whatever they please.
Which they just passed that. They just passed that this week. A massive funding package to Ukraine, Israel, and then in the fine lines, we call this a piggyback law. In the fine lines, there they shoved in a TikTok ban. What the fuck was that?
Which sets a precedent for the rest of us.
You notice a lot of people are getting the taxes already changed. They said the tax returns were not what people expected this year because they already changed them. So they're printing money. They're devaluating the dollar. If you're not, by the way, cheap plug, if you're not investing in gold, you should be. It's a finite resource. It is something that will grow. It'll stay stable or it'll grow. Go to aprilhunter.gold and check out Wise Wolf Gold. This is a veteran owned. It's not me. It's the Wolfpack Gold, and it's a veteran owned, trusted. They have gold, silver, precious metals. Invest for yourself, your family, and if you use the code 1776 for a recurring buy, and you don't need much, it's as little as $50. If you use 1776, you get some free constitutional silver. So protect yourself, because the de-dollarization is actually it's a real thing. So they're printing the money. They're, lowering what our dollar is worth. I mean, why was my grandmother's house? Why was it $30,000 in, 19 whatever that she bought it? And why did it sell for $250,000? And why is it now worth like $450,000? It's the same house. Nothing changed. But that's how low our dollar is now. That's how little it's worth. It's just little teensy pennies now. It's not.
Yes.
Honestly.
That's why I'm with.
It's not like it costs more to make.
I'm with Ben Rob 1982. I'm investing in tequila and ammunition. That's my new standard right there. I think that's going to get me through.
I'm missing some of these great. Oh, Ben Rob saying is anybody's feed hanging. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is my first time producing this show tonight, if you want to call it that. We need Ray. Ray is the best. We miss him.
Ray's the bomb.
We miss him. He's doing some stuff with his family tonight, his son, and obviously he does a really good job, and I don't. So thank you for being patient with me.
No, in all honesty, April, I think you're doing a great job. It's just your equipment. Like I remember I was on your show a few months ago.
I have a laptop,
and I had the same thing. My equipment was just my Wi-Fi wouldn't do it. So now you know my pain. You feel my pain.
I do feel your pain.
I think you're doing a great job, and besides, it's what we're listening to you, and I think you make a lot of great points.
Thank you. So Winona says, from my experience, durable medical supplies are only supposed to be gotten with this prescription and a doctor stating on the prescription that's a medical necessity. Problem is, insurance doesn't really check into it, and the law is often taken advantage of. And guess who pays the price for that? People like me who actually need it and then can't get it because of other jackasses. So there's and fun fact, there's no law saying you have to file taxes at the end of the year. Ben Rob says, fun fact that nobody teaches you. And I believe, let's just say you never, ever file taxes ever once. If you're not in the system, you never, ever have to file taxes again. But nobody teaches us that. So once you do it once, you're on the system. And apparently once you've signed the thing, it says you're going to continue. But if you never start, allegedly, you don't ever have to pay them. And I believe that is in the Constitution somewhere. So anyway, I could be wrong. IRS, I could be wrong. So, if you're listening.
No, they are. They are. Trust me, they are.
Eva says, drink your monkey cult coffee in the morning. Oh, hell yes. So,
yes.
Yeah, if you're looking for some good coffee, here's our other sponsor. Check out Monkey Cult Coffee because they have a bourbon chocolate chip to die for. Their specialty is coming up with like alcohol flavored coffees and mixing in like coconut and chocolate and honey agave. And it's so good. So go to Monkey Cult Coffee, check out their website. And if you use April 10, you get 10% off. Tell them I said hi. So yeah, Ben Robb says I'm investing in tequila bottles. Tequila and was it ammo?
Yeah, and ammunition.
Yeah, that's not a bad investment. It's not a bad investment. Yeah. So you'd probably like the honey agave of the Monkey Cult Coffee also. Yeah, so somebody said
a good morning would be
the encouragement here.
Wake JC, up, drink your Monkey Cult coffee, and then go order your gold.
Oh yes, definitely. JC2 said it pisses me off that our tax money goes to these foreign places. Meanwhile, we have veterans that are homeless and missing limbs and living in tents or cardboard boxes. Yes, thank you. We're not taking care of our own.
No.
It pisses me off that during the summer, there are children that don't have meals. They can only eat when they're at school. It pisses me off that we have people living on the streets and they have nowhere to go. It pisses me off that we don't have affordable health care for mental health, and that even though we've come a long way, it's still a thing. And even if you have decent insurance, it's still not really available or affordable for a lot of people, or even included in their health insurance. Yet we are okay to send that money overseas, to launder it. I mean, to use it for war and give it to other countries.
Yeah.
That's upsetting to me.
Very.
And nobody voted and said, this is okay. This is what we want. Ben Robb says you can also rescind paying Social Security. So it makes you wonder, are you going to get anything out of it?
Remember this, April. Every seat is up for a re-election. Every seat is open this election.
Yeah.
Every seat.
That's why it's going to come at you from every angle because of that.
Get rid of all of them. Get rid of all of them. All of them. All of them got to go.
Except for Rand Paul. Rand Paul's pretty cool.
All right, fair enough. We'll keep Rand. Maybe a couple others, but everybody else they got to go. These all got to go.
So
you and I should run. You and I should run.
No, nobody can handle somebody with their boobies out. So, real quick, let me see. I'm going to tell you one of the things. I'm going to read you a page. Wade's got a good news story. And then I'm just going to tell you a hidden couple of tips to be environmental, since we just had Earth Day. There's a couple things I highlighted here that I don't know if people know. One is use mulch. Mulch is actually really, really healthy and good. Secondly, we all know about planting trees and all the basic stuff, but did you know that when you use lighting outside, it's supposed to face down? This is called a dark sky lighting. So make sure your lighting doesn't go up into the sky, because that actually confuses all the wildlife and can screw up all the migration patterns. So when you're using lighting at night, make sure it faces down or is covered. Another one is stop using landscape-wide chemicals and fertilizers. A typical manicured lawn uses a lot of chemicals and fertilizers, which runs off into the water supply. This also causes problems with pollinators. So if you are able to let your lawn go a little bit, you get more. It's better for the bees, it's better for the butterflies, and you have contributed to a better source of water as well. Those are two things that you can do that a lot of people don't know about. You can also turn off any unnecessary lighting at night that you're not using. Again, it helps the environment. So can you think of anything else to add to that the average person might not know? Are you froze?
Talking to me? Oh,
yeah.
Me? No. I'm not frozen. I'm just sitting here listening. I can think of a lot of things the average person doesn't know. That'll take up an entire day. No, I not at this, not necessarily. I was too busy looking up my story. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Here's one more. Don't poison pest animals. So it helps protect the predators such as hawks and owls from accidental poisoning. So don't use the glue traps either. It also often kills non-target wildlife. So be careful how you decide to get rid of your pests, because there can be a chain of command situation there that goes on and on and on. So that is something to pay attention to. So if you want to be a little more environmental and make a bigger impact, pay attention to that. And I'll save the Christmas story for next week. We'll do that. But you have a little good news story, so I'll let you do that.
I thought this was really cool, and we were talking about before we started, and this spoke to me because for whatever reason, hopefully speaks to you. And I don't even know if it's true. I have no idea. I didn't fact check it, but it sounds good. Charlie Chaplin once told a joke in front of an audience. Everyone laughed. And then he told it a second time, and only a few people laughed. Then he told it a third time, and no one laughed. Then he said these beautiful words: if you can't laugh and cry at the same joke, if you can't laugh and laugh at the same joke, why do you cry and cry at the same pain and sorrow?
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was awesome.
That is awesome.
Take that energy away, and I'm guilty of not. So that really spoke to me. Like, if you can't laugh at the same joke over and over and over again, why cry at the same pain? Let that pain go, let it go, and move on. And trying to implement that in my own life. You know,
I like it.
You got the Patreon. Oh, you got the little banner going.
I did.
Good job.
I'm trying to figure. I'm playing around with all the stuff here. So yeah, you guys can check out, as you saw the banner earlier, Wade Hunt Williams Music. I got that right?
WadeHuntWilliamsmusic.com. Yes.
Yes. Check WadeHuntWilliamsmusic.com. Check him out. And he plays some really good stuff. He's also an actor. You can find all his stuff on IMDb. And thank you for helping me co-host. We won't keep you guys here any longer than necessary. Thank you for being patient with me for my very first try tonight. I really
give a big round of applause for April Hunter, everybody. April Hunter, everybody.
We're just trying it. So thanks for being here, you guys. I appreciate it so much. So talk to you soon. We are live on Wednesday nights at 7:00 Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We hope you will join us live. And if you're listening to us, you can find us on Patreon, The A Show, Twitch, The A Show, Rumble, and on April Hunter on, where am I? Yep, YouTube. You can also check me out, Real April Hunter, on Instagram or Patreon, April Hunter. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Mwah. All right, let's see if we can close out the way we're supposed to. I don't know if that's going to work. We might just end up closing out, but let's see. Here we go. Did we do it? Are we doing it here?
Not yet.
No, we're not doing it. Okay,
no,
let's find some music.
Should say something.
All right, I think we'll just end up closing it because I'm not cool enough to do this. All right, thanks anyway.
Bye,
just sing a song. Sing a song. We'll fade out.
Goodbye, good night. You did a wonderful job. Yeah.
All right, thanks, you guys. Have a great night. Mwah.